Joe Courtney just put Pete Hegseth on the spot, and not just about submarines or shipyards. This was about whether America is really living up to its commitments to our allies and our own workers. And when you hear the numbers, when you hear the reality of what's being cut, you'll see why Courtney wasn't pulling any punches.
Mr. Secretary, this morning, the eyes of our closest allies, UK and Australia, are on your department as a result of Undersecretary of Policy Eldridge Colby's announcement that he's launching a 30-day review of the trilateral AUKUS mission. I would just note that it's not just their eyes, it's our eyes in this committee. In 2023, by a vote of 310 to a small minority, we passed the AUKUS authorities and followed up on that in terms of AUKUS investments in the billions of dollars into our submarine industrial base. Australia has reciprocated, as you know, with its own investments in our submarine industrial base. And since then, since 2023, what we've seen that the three countries working together, that we now have well over 100 Australian sailors and naval officers that have gone through joint training. I've seen them in my district at graduation ceremonies. They're joint crewing. Virginia-class submarines. We also have joint U.S.-Australian submarine repair work that's happening in Guam and Hawaii. And our submarine industrial base last year delivered 2 Virginia-class attack submarines. They're New Jersey and Iowa. This year it'll be Massachusetts and Idaho. And the year following, it's going to be Arkansas and the Utah are going to be delivered during that 3-year period. General Kane, how many nuclear-powered attack submarines is in the Chinese Navy? Do you know that answer?
It's nuclear-powered attack boats.
Yes.
I mean, it's
how many attack?
Yes, sir.
Nuclear-powered.
Many. I'll get you.
No. Well, the answer is 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we've seen in the industrial base is that last year, this year, and next year, we're going to be delivering that identical number. They're building a 7th. You can check the Wall Street Journal, and you can see where that boat ended up at the bottom of the Yangtze River because of their inability to actually do the hard work of building nuclear-powered submarines, which is probably one of the most complex undertakings in really industry of any sort. Again, the Australians are investing in Perth, and so that we are going to have rotations of Virginia-class submarines that are already started to happen. Admiral Paparo testified in vocal support of AUKUS when he came before this committee just a few weeks ago. And again, I would just say, you know, there is nothing wrong with reviewing any program. We're all accountable. Anything of this magnitude certainly deserves review. But a 30-day review on a project that really took years to develop, in which this committee was instrumental in terms of in enabling. And in my opinion, China's reaction to AUKUS is the ultimate sort of endorsement of AUKUS because they hate it. And the one commitment I would ask, Mr. Secretary, is just your commitment that this committee in Congress is going to be integrally involved in whatever the review process is. Because we have skin in the game, we have history, and we have allies who really are, again, issuing statements this morning. The Prime Minister of England, the Stephen Lovegrove, the Special Representatives for AUKUS, Richard Marles, putting out statements trying to reassure their countries that the U.S. is still going to follow through on this commitment. And we want that reassurance as well from you. Can you, again, give us that commitment that Congress will be involved in this review process? And I have one more follow-up question.
As it has been, Congress will be involved, but I've had an ongoing review myself. I've spent a great deal of time with Marles and Healy at the Australia and UK.
And I've been following your work
reviewing it myself. Secretary Colby's reviewing it.
Okay.
We know that. It's all important to make sure it fits our needs.
State
also.
Department, by the way, has skin in the game too, and they should be involved in it as well. I just want to reiterate Mr. Rogers' point and Mr. Smith's point. If we really care about strengthening the industrial base, we need to have procurement stability, which means we need to have a budget, a real budget, not a $20 billion shipbuilding budget, which Senator Wicker just eviscerated a couple of days ago, That's $17 billion less than the last Biden shipbuilding budget. That's what got sent over to us. And again, that's the way, and I represent a district that is the general contractor for both programs. You want to strengthen hiring, supply chain, and facility growth. You need to have procurement stability. That's not what we're seeing from the Office of Management and Budget. I yield back.
Chair now recognizes gentleman.
Joe Courtney's questioning of Pete Hegseth wasn't just another back and forth in Congress. It was a mirror held up to America's defense commitments, both at home and abroad. What we just saw gets to the heart of credibility. Courtney started by pointing out something most people don't see in the headlines. AUKUS, this trilateral partnership with Australia and the UK, isn't some vague agreement on paper. It's already real, already functioning. Billions of dollars have been invested. Joint training programs are happening. Australian sailors are literally standing side by side with Americans, learning the same systems, crewing the same submarines. This isn't theory, this is practice. And here's the kicker. While America and its allies are moving forward, China is struggling. Courtney even highlighted how one of China's nuclear submarines ended up at the bottom of a river, a failure that speaks volumes about the difficulty of mastering this technology. Nuclear-powered submarines are among the most complex industrial undertakings on Earth. So when the U.S. delivers multiple Virginia-class submarines year after year, that's not just about steel and rivets. That's about sending a message. America can build, America can lead, and America can defend. So why does a sudden 30-day review matter so much? Because it sends shockwaves through that entire system of trust. Think of it from the perspective of an Australian officer training thousands of miles away from home. Am I putting my future on the line for a program that may not even last? Or from the viewpoint of the UK government, we committed resources, political capital, and trust in Washington. Is Washington about to back out? These aren't minor concerns. They touch the very foundation of alliances. Courtney wasn't just defending a program, he was defending the signal America sends to the world. Because every time the U.S. wavers, every time budgets get slashed or commitments delayed, adversaries notice, Beijing notices. And make no mistake, China's hostility toward AUKUS is actually proof of its strength. They know this partnership matters, and they fear its long-term potential. But Courtney didn't stop there. He drilled into the economic backbone that makes all of this possible, procurement stability. This part often gets lost in political fights, but it's crucial. When Congress and the administration slash $17 billion from shipbuilding compared to the previous budget, what happens? Workers get laid off, supply chains shrink, contractors hesitate to expand capacity. And once that industrial base is weakened, it's not something you can just snap your fingers and rebuild. It takes years, sometimes decades. This is the side of national security that doesn't make the evening news but has massive consequences. You can't ask workers in shipyards to train, invest, and build if the funding comes and goes with each political whim. And you can't tell allies to stake their futures on U.S. commitments if you're not willing to back those commitments with consistent resources. That's why Courtney's tone was sharp, because beneath the policy details is a bigger question. Is America serious about its role in the world, or are we going to let short-term politics undermine long-term strategy? What makes this hearing so important, it's not just about submarines. It's about whether the U.S. is reliable, whether workers can trust their government to support the jobs they depend on, whether allies can trust America to stand firm in the face of global challenges, and whether adversaries see weakness where they should see resolve. When Hegseth dodged and deflected, leaning on bureaucratic language about reviews and other departments, it wasn't just unsatisfying, it was dangerous. Because credibility doesn't live in vague promises. It lives in commitments kept, budgets delivered, and partnerships honored. And that's why hearings like this matter. They cut through the speeches and force us to confront the reality. Our choices today, whether we fund, whether we build, whether we commit, determine not only the strength of our alliances, but the security of generations to come. So when Courtney pressed hard, it wasn't about scoring points. It was about sending a reminder. The world is watching. Our allies are watching. Our workers are watching. And yes, our adversaries are watching too. And that leaves us with a question, one that we can't dodge. Do we want America to be seen as a country that keeps its promises, or as one that reviews, delays, and retreats? Because the answer isn't just written in hearings. It's written in budgets, in shipyards, in alliances, and ultimately, in history. And if you want to keep following these crucial stories, the ones that show how decisions in Washington ripple out to the world stage, make sure you subscribe and stay engaged. Because this isn't just politics. This is about the future America builds or fails to build.